Hello, folks. I'm Sherry Schreider, and a couple things I want to talk about today. If you have problems listening to me, hearing me, let me know in the chat room because I think there's some weird stuff going on this Skype. I don't know if you were hearing the noise I was hearing with the intro playing, but it was crazy. So, a couple things I want to talk about. Where to begin? Because I have like a million different things. I want to talk a little bit about the Rev 12 sign because everybody knows. I think it was painfully obvious how annoyed I was with the entire thing. That the church crowd is rallying around the Rev 12 sign and getting all joyful and glee and trying to pin a rapture date to it and doing all this torturous and stupid stuff to the sign itself. And I just get so angry because they're all so dumb. And I say this in a loving way, tough love. Because as much as the opposite ends of knowledge we're on, they're still brethren. And, they're not my enemies, even though to me, I'm theirs. They don't like me. But I tolerate because they're brethren. And so they just have a ways to go. They're so stuck in the mire. And I'm trying to pull them out. So the Father said, he said, lead my people back to me. And so that's what I'm trying to do. As much as they fight it, they're a stubborn bunch. They want to hang on to all their false prophecies and dreams. And, even Jeremiah said they all share the same demons. And so that's what happens when you travel in bad circles. Your friends rub their bad things onto you, and there's just so many professional Christians online. Those who act like they're Christians, know the scripture better than most Christians, and set themselves up as leaders. And they're just switches and Satanists, and it's just so aggravating. I can't fix Rome in a day. Can't fix church crowd. All I can do is get to the few of them that'll listen. The Rev 12 sign, I was talking to Dad about it. And sometimes Sabbath day, Saturday, and on into Sunday. What he was telling me was that their interpretation of Revelation 12 sign is that their dark prince is coming with a vengeance. And through their preparations, they do everything to raise energy levels. So with their predictive programmings, foretelling of violent events that are coming, as they seek to destroy and terminate God's people. The Rev 12 sign was basically like a green light for them. They saw the sign that their dark prince is going to be coming to the earth. This is the way they interpret Rev 12. And so now they're going to begin with earnest, and they already have their depopulation agenda. They call it 3030. That means that's their end date, to have 3/4 of the world destroyed by then. That doesn't mean they're not going to start it till then. and their initial one was 2020, and then they changed it to 2030. You could probably go back to the 2020. That's probably their real goal. And so all these hurricanes that were geoengineered by them, and it was the factions fighting. But they're going to make use out of a good destruction. They're not going to let something go to waste. I asked Father about how many people had been killed or died and missing in Houston. And he said 50,000. And he said that they were pulling people, rounding them up, before the water had even started to fall, before the streets had even started to flood. And so what this reminds me is they're targeting and profiling, perhaps picking people out of their homes that they know are leaving. Maybe they're packing up. maybe picking them off the highways. 50,000 people, folks. And if you ask the first responders, and there's videos all over the internet, and they're finding people with bullet holes because it was a shooting fest down there for them. Then you have your FBI, your DHS, and all your agencies down there on top of the military, and they're shooting people. And then they would break the dams, blow the dams, so the water would rush in and sweep all these people out to sea. Because see, what bodies they don't find, they don't have to count as victims of the hurricane. So all the ones who have been hauled off and exterminated, those don't count. Because there's actually no bodies with the tag on the toe. So unless you got a body with a tag on the toe, it's not going to count. So they're eliminating all these bodies. Up to 50,000, folks. And that's not even the other islands. Those are just, there was something going on with Puerto Rico last year, and I was trying to remember it. I couldn't get anywhere. I couldn't remember. Because they targeted Puerto Rico for a reason. They usually target places for a reason, folks. And so they're not playing ball. Maybe they're not playing ball with Uncle Sam or something, because Puerto Rico was targeted. Maybe it was a banking, a money issue or something. I don't remember what it was. But you've got two different factions fighting for control right now. You got the deep state, which is the mafia rule, Hillary Clinton and Bush's and the whole New World Order cabal. And they want to keep the U.S. dollar as dominant and fiat money and what the Federal Reserve in charge. And then you have this new regime coming in that wants to replace it with gold-backed currency, what they call the USN, and it would be going along with the whole world economy, revalue recurrency thing. And so you have two different factions fighting it out for control. And they're the ones who called off the truce, and that's why they didn't flood New York, because New York was going to end up on destruction for both factions. The one was going to take out Wall Street, and the other was going to take out the UN. And I would have just sat back and laughed at the whole thing, but they ended up not doing anything. They called a truce, and then went on with their little peace and safety charade and their little General Assembly speeches for last week. Nothing but a dog and pony show. And so, that one's passed. They're not going to do anything with that. But the destructions are just starting, folks. They're just starting. When they start the fires out in the Midwest, what do? They evacuate. They evacuate areas. And people going missing and rounded up for death are going to go through the guise of evacuations. That's how they're going to hide it. Do not let the government help you. Do not let the government evacuate you. Do it on your own. It's interesting that one of the top things with all these disasters and destructions is gun control. They're coming after your guns. And I know they were fighting with first responders who were armed because they wanted their weapons, and they refused to give them up. First of all, hired military by the government has no legal authority to take your weapons. They're hired private contractors. They have no authority over you. Period. So there's all these private contractors, military contractors down there in Houston killing people, and then they wanted the guns from the first responders, and they were refusing to give them up, and good for them. And the only reason they want you to give them your guns is because they're afraid of dying. They're afraid of death, and so they don't want you to see you shooting innocent people. They don't want you seeing them shooting off innocent people, and they don't want you shooting them, which is why they want the gun control. They're afraid to death to die, because they know if they lose that human body, if that human body dies, they go to the judgment of the spirits, the realm of judgment of the spirits is this area. It's like hell. It's like when humans die, they either go to heaven or hell. And when these spirits die, these aliens die, they've been soul scalping all these human bodies, they go to their own hell for their kind. And so they don't want to go to hell. So That's why they want gun confiscation. They want to be able to control weapons so nobody can shoot at them. So, to them, the Rev 12 sign was the green light. They can ramp up their destruction on mankind. Remember the tribulation period? The first half is Satan's wrath on mankind, and the second half is God's wrath on mankind. So you're probably going to see a lot of these thumpers going after God's judgments on the world, and you need to repent, blah, blah, blah. This is Satan's wrath on mankind. Satan's wrath. And it was interesting how it started. On Sunday, there was a shooting in a church in Antioch, Tennessee. There's a lot of symbolism there. First of all, Christians were first called, Christians were first called Christians in Antioch. They were Paul's followers, and they first called themselves Christians in Antioch, which is symbolizing of Christians. And so they're letting you know, war on. The game's on. They're coming after the Christians. I mean, that was just boom, very next day, PSYOP, letting you know, coming after the Christians. And I've been getting the same things as that the war is on. When I asked Father the things that were coming up, he told me bombs, earthquakes, and floods. And it reminded me of the Japanese tsunami in 2011 where they put bombs on the ocean floor to cause that tsunami. It also reminded me of the water I saw planned for the 20th in New York because I didn't see any wind. I just saw all this water coming from everywhere, which would indicate an earthquake causing some kind of tsunamis out in the Atlantic, pushing all the water towards New York. And so that was truce for now. May not always be. They may bring that back next week or whatever. If they do, I'll let you know. Those aren't thus saith the Lord. The Lord doesn't tell me that. The stuff I see on my own because it amuses me to watch both the factions fighting. I try to keep up on a little bit of everything here and there, especially when it goes on in the background. And then if something like a truce is called, nothing happens. Everybody gets mad, and it's like, you know what? Chill. This is the stuff going on in the background. You can either learn about what's going on in the background or just go stick your head back in the sand. You know, one or the other. Because my folks, my people, they like to hear what's going on in the background and what the factions are doing and what's going on. And so I tell them for their own amusement as well. If you don't want to hear it, go stick your head back in the sand. I don't care. Go somewhere else. So that's something that's coming up. Also probably escalate the fires because fires are like instant death energy for them. The fastest way for them to produce death energy is fires, instant destruction. And so probably see more of that as they fire up the ring of fire in the Pacific Ocean. That will get fired up soon enough with the earthquakes. And can I focus on the West Coast right now? I've got so much going on. A lot of symbolism in the NFL. And so one of the things that caught my attention is this whole disrespectful, we're not going to kneel for the anthem. And it's gotten worse instead of better. I haven't paid attention, but apparently a lot of football players are kneeling. And so President Trump was tweeting that they should be fired, which I totally agree with. It's total disrespect. It has nothing to do with First Amendment rights. It has to do with respect and love for your country. And so if they don't like the country, get out. Either stand up and show some appreciation or just get out. You know, that's the way I see it too. And so, but when you look at the whole thing and how closely aligned with the Illuminati our sports teams are, think of it this way. You know, they came back against Trump with, oh, we don't have to do anything to these players, basically sticking up for them, whatever, telling Trump he's wrong and leave them alone and blah, blah, blah. Perhaps forcing Trump's hand or the government saying to come back and put some kind of punishment or restrictions on these people who aren't honoring the anthem. Because this is where it heads, folks. Follow me here. In Revelation chapter 8, 13, everybody is required to worship the image of the beast. And those who refuse to worship the image of the beast are killed. You are not killed for refusing to be chip implanted, but you will be killed if you do not worship the beast. And so how are they going to enforce that? I mean, does an image of the beast show up on your computer screen, your phone, your TV screen? I mean, is this why they're putting TV screens everywhere? They're in cabs, they're in elevators, they're in fast food restaurants. TV screens are up everywhere. And so what if they demand that everybody at certain times of the day go out and face the east and do this Muslim thing where they bow to Allah, the big Satan freak, and they start enforcing this on everybody? So this could be kind of like a conditioning, you know. This could kind of like be conditioning. If you don't stand for the anthem, we're going to do this, you know. If we don't worship the beast, we're going to do this. Could be some kind of predictive programming. That's all I'm saying about it. Predictive programming. To me, it's just outright respect. But then you see where it's leading, you know. You see why they're possibly spending so much time on stupid stuff. I mean, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, if somebody didn't stand for the national anthem, would it be a news story? No. Not real, no. And it would, you know, it wouldn't even be a news story. So they're pushing it into the limelight for a reason. They're getting ready with some kind of predictive programming into our heads. So, Satan's wrath on mankind, folks. This is not God's judgment. And so, y'all need to prepare. Y'all need to prepare. I like the church crowders now are about, I'm just going to sit on the couch and put on my armor of God, and that's all I'm going to do. I wonder what they say about the shooter walking into their sun god church and killing people. Why didn't God protect them, huh? Why didn't they were in church, weren't they? Why weren't they protected? They weren't saved. That'll be the church response. They weren't saved. Whenever they can't answer something, they just sweep it under the rug with insults. So, getting real, folks. It's getting real. Next week is the Feast of Tabernacles. Let's see. On the Edakian calendar, it starts September 28th to October 4th. On the Hebrew calendar, I think it's the 28th to October 5th. That's what I have scribbled here on my notes. Pretty much aligned at the same time. Now, the Feast of Tabernacles is also called Ingathering. And you can go to my website, back to Yahuwah.com, but it's spelled Yahweh. Looks like Yahweh, but it's pronounced Yahuwah. Or you go to hebcal.com. Or just Google Sukkot, Feast of Sukkot, S-U-K-K-O-T, Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of Ingathering. It's all the same feast. And this is the final feast on the calendar for the year that we celebrate. Now, Hanukkah is not an appointed time. It's their answer to the pagans' Christmas. I would stop doing that. I'm not even doing Hanukkah. I'm just tired of the whole month of December. Because I was trying to follow along with that. Because the Jews picked up that as a custom. And you know what? When you get rid of the whole thing, it's just so liberating. It really is. Just get rid of the whole thing. I was lighting the candles every night and never could find a menorah, and it's always so stressing. Because you know you're not doing things right, and you don't even have the right supplies and the tools, and you don't even know what you're doing. It's the blind leading the blind. So you just do your best you can and laugh as you go. And I just get tired of it, you know. So I'm not even doing that one anymore. I'll stick to the Father's feast. Man's traditions have creeped a lot, even in the Jewish calendars. Like, we're supposed to be embracing your Jewish roots, folks, not trying to assimilate the Jews' teachings in with your pagan Christianity teachings. You know, back in the day, when somebody wanted to join with the Israelites, join the Jews, they had to adopt their ways and their beliefs and their culture and adopt their God. There was no compromise. And it was the same thing the apostles were teaching, was that the Gentiles that wanted to follow Yahushua had to come in and adopt their ways, their beliefs, and their customs. But the only way they could teach them this was through learning at the temple. Let's say they would go to the temple to learn how they assimilate and embrace the Jewish culture and teachings. And so you see a lot of these arguments between Paul and the apostles over what they were teaching these people. That's what a lot of the argument in the New Testament was about, was what they were being taught and how they were being taught. And of course, Paul had the double-sided tongue. He would be celebrating Passover and the Jewish feast, and on the other hand, telling the Gentiles, "Oh, you don't have to, enjoy your bunnies and your Christmas trees." He spoke out of both sides of his mouth. He led them away from what the truth is. And so I have to spend so much time bringing people back to the truth. All right. If you have a question in the chat room, you can post one. I'm actually reading and talking at the same time tonight. So I posted that interview I did on Revolution Radio as a guest host. It's on my YouTube channel, and you can go there and listen to my hour and a half teachings I did as a guest host. And so I know a lot of people just eyes on the skies, wanting to go home, me in particular. And so what I did last week, and I'm going to read this on the air. I don't even know why I'm going to. I typically don't talk about conversations I have with the Most High. But I wrote this petition to the Most High and the Heavenly Council. And so I'm going to read it on the air. And it starts like this. Petition to the Most High and Heavenly Council. I'm tired and I want to come home. I've worked hard to do as you've asked and led me to do. I raised a family, an army, and an audience. I started a war against Lucifer and his minions and have been beat up upside down and sideways. It's taken a toll on my health, wealth, and mental state. Other than Dad and a few loyal supporters, I've been alone. I've never had the support of your people. They hate, mock, and reject me as a prophet, daughter, messenger, and even warrior. I worked tirelessly to inform, educate, teach, and lead those who could hear and be led. I've given almost all my days to this, never taking time off, vacations, or even holidays. I've been at your service and call 24/7. Serving you here has consumed my entire life, and for very little gratitude from the people themselves. I get no respect. They won't miss me when I'm gone because they don't even like me while I'm here. So please do them and me a favor and just bring me home. Let me come back to the ones I love, the ones I miss, my family, my home, my life, and world with my father. I've done what I can here. My blood, sweat, and tears are in pieces all over this planet. When you stood me up, I stood tall. Now I just want to sit beside you and put my head on your shoulder. My heart has been broken, not by the rejection by man, but by my longing to be back home and with my family. Have I done enough? Will anything ever be enough? When is enough enough? I love you, Father. I won't wait for an answer. I will wait for a sign that you heard me and that you are bringing me home. Sincerely, Daddy's little girl. And so I await. I await the sign that he told me last year about that he would show me this particular sign when he was going to bring us home. And so I've been waiting for it and waiting. And I've realized over time that there are certain days of the week that seem to be a lot hotter than other days of the week that seem to be cold. And I've learned that the hot days, for when I would most likely see the sign, are on the weekends, that they're mostly on Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. Saturday is the 7th day of the week, Sunday is the 1st day of the week, and Monday is the 2nd day of the week. And those 3 days seem to be all the hot days, the hot zones, the red zones, the hot days, times for us to, when the Father would show me a sign so we could leave. There was also another day of the week I liked just because of the correlation of wedding and Wednesday, and that's Wednesday. I like the Wednesdays. I've always noticed that Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays seem to be the favorite days of the occultists. And when you look at their calendars and their plots and their plans, they always seem to be the most fruitious on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And of course, Friday is the Sabbath day of Islam, and so they do no business, no banking or business on Fridays. They're just in prayer all day, and their prophecies for their Imam coming is that he would arrive during prayers, and since Friday is a Sabbath, you could always assume that their Maitreya, this 12th Imam, would arrive on a Friday. And the fake Jesus, who plays Sananda, who goes by a myriad of names, Emmanuel, Sananda, Asu, Jesus, has always said he would arrive on a Thursday. And so you're always looking out for those 2 days. And of course, what they say and what they do could always be completely opposite, completely different. And they love it when you announce something and then they work to thwart it because they don't want it to come about because you announced it. They want to make you look like an idiot. They do that a lot. I'm so over it. I don't care. I'm not an ego-driven person. I'm here to lead the people back to the Father. I've had my war against Lucifer and against this whole New World Order. I have put in my petition to the Most High and the Heavenly Council, and I will read it back to them every so often. They're not deaf, but it makes me feel good just to read it back every once in a while. Feast of Ingathering is a good weekend for next week, the Hot Zone. So not giving up on September. I can see we're in delays. That's painfully obvious. But don't expect hurricane season to go away because it's just getting started. Bombs, earthquakes, tsunamis, they don't need hurricane season to destroy coastal cities. They can start setting off bombs in the ocean floors. And that's, remember what I said about Luge and how death and destruction and pain and torment is all an energy to them. And they're going to be looking to raise the energy levels so that their dark prince will arrive. That's what they're doing it for. Waiting for their dark prince. And the way they think, the more of everything, then he'll honor it and actually arrive. And so that's how they think. And so, and they want to eliminate the population as quickly as possible, means less resistance against them when they do arrive. They want total domination and control before they even make a physical public appearance, folks. And so that's why you're going to see a lot of chaos. They're going to solidify their control on Earth and then arrive. If you're on the coastlines, get off of them. Now would be a good time to like do creative thinking, like maybe rent a cabin somewhere for the next year. You know, rent like a winter cabin. Get off the coastlines and go rent a winter cabin somewhere. Maybe get with other people. Creative thinking, folks. Creative thinking. Even if you had to go find a trailer in a trailer park somewhere in the mountains, somewhere away from the coastlines, go rent one for a year. You know. Get away from the coastline. So many people say that they just don't have the money to do that. But ask the Lord for help. Let Him give you some creative ideas. That's what I would do. I'm pretty set where I'm at. I'm not near a coastline. I'm not near any water, so I'm not having to worry about hurricanes and tsunamis. But earthquakes can wipe just about anybody out anywhere, and so you always have to be mindful of earthquakes. And that's where you want to get the camping gear ready, folks, because if you had to, you could always set up a tent on your own property, right? You could set up a tent. They can't kick you off the property if you're on a tent. Prepare for hard times. We don't know when we're leaving. There's no "thus saith the Lord, you're leaving on this date." We don't know. So prepare for some hard times. I have nothing in October right now. It's like almost like a tunnel zone on the 28th for some reason. Tunnel vision, like everything points to September 28th, and that was the original time I had felt the pole flip would begin in September. Was the last week of September. And now it's kind of painfully obvious we're going into delays because the elect is still here. The pole flip will not happen with the elect here. You're going to see this cosmic event of the Lord coming to get his elect. There's two cosmic events coming, I've told you. The one with the Lord coming to take home his first fruits, his redeemed, his elect. And then the second one is the ascended masters coming as divine beings to earth. And waiting for these two cosmic events to happen. And so the 28th still stands out to me. I don't know why. Maybe just a watch date. For whatever. That happens to be a Thursday. That happens to be their date. That happens to be an arrival day of theirs. Maybe on the 27th during the day I could get the sign that we're leaving. I don't know. Another thing about the sign, though, is that it will be surprised, and so maybe it comes on a time and a day I'm not expecting it. I don't know. I would be surprised right now if it showed up. So technically, that doesn't really mean much because I would just be surprised either way. I would be so happy. I get so homesick. I get so homesick. People don't understand who the elect are. They think it's the churches pretty much think the elect and the bride are the same people. When I was in the Baptist churches, there was never a differentiation between the elect and the bride. It was a truth the Father taught me. When you sit at his feet and ask him for the truth in all things. And if you look at the Hebrew word for elect, it's first fruits, it's firstborn. And the churches translate this as first rapture. That's not what it means. It's the firstborn. The firstborn were angels. First created ever. Firstborn are angels. And the Lord had sent angels to earth to be born as humans, and he will redeem them back to himself, because from the palace they came, and from the palace they will return. See, that whole scripture refers to the elect. It does not refer to anybody else. It does not refer to every person on earth who is born here, who is the bride, or anybody else. It refers to this particular number of the elect because they came from the palace to begin with. Just as Yahushua was sent to die on the cross for mankind's sins, he was sent from God's throne, from the palace. came to earth, fulfilled his role as the Son of God, as the Son of Man, went back to heaven. There are a lot of lesser roles being played by angels from the palace that were sent here on earth to be born as humans and fulfill roles. Jeremiah was one of them. Remember the scripture in Jeremiah where it says, I knew you before you were even formed in the womb, before in the belly? Because Jeremiah was sent from the palace to earth to fulfill a particular role. The elect, the firstborn, are here fulfilling particular roles, and they will be redeemed back to the Father. That's why he says, I will not lose one not one will be plucked out of my hand, because he knows how many are here, and he will redeem them back to himself. Now, a long time ago, when I was asking the Father how many of the elect were there, that's when I had learned that there were two groups of 144,000. The one group, Israel, mimics the elect because 12,000 from each tribe are sealed, and they become as evangelists during the tribulation period after the sixth seal. 12,000 from each tribe are sealed. That was a mimicry of the number because 144,000 from the palace, the elect, had been sent here and then redeemed. And so that's what we're waiting for. That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the elect to be redeemed and taken back home. I have all this on my website, sherryshiner.com. You can read my article, Angels in the Flesh, that will describe how the Father puts vessels of honor born as humans here on earth, his elect, and how Lucifer does the same thing with demons and his fallen. Why babies are born with demonic souls. They're Lucifers from the time they're born because he does the same thing. I explain it all in my article, Angels in the Flesh. Anyway, folks, I'll be back on Wednesday, 27th. Till next week, everybody. Or until Wednesday, everybody. God bless.